Welcome to another John and Rick show. Hey, everyone. Rick, how's it going, man?
All right. Are we talking to ourselves or is anyone in the chat?
No, we have people in the chat.
All right.
Melissa, PH, Confluence, Sports Cards.
Very cool. I think everyone loves cereal, right? What kid didn't love cereal growing up? You know what I mean? Maybe not the milk, but the actual cereal was always a big hit with me.
Hodges is in the house. Yeah, I still like cereal, man.
Oh man. But my favorite Captain Crunch, man. I could just tear up my mouth with those things. Crunch
I like
berries,
Fruity Pebbles.
fruity. Well, those things just melt, man. It's not. It's like chocolate milk. Well, the Count Dracula ones are like chocolate milk. My mom would always, man. She had to twist her arm. She always had like just the regular corn flakes or raisin bran. She wouldn't
Me
buy.
too.
Sometimes she'd buy the frosted flakes, were really popular. But
They're great.
they're great. Tony the Tiger, man.
It seems like I got most of my baseball cards in Frosted Flakes, I think.
Did you? Yeah, I
I
think.
think so.
Yeah, but God, they're so
So,
expensive. I was gonna say the cost of the major brand cereals, Kellogg's or Post, those things are like $5-6 a
yeah,
box now. It's highway robbery.
cereal is pretty expensive.
God, and I could sit there if I'm watching a football game, man, I can go through a whole freaking box of it.
I always have a second bowl. I can't eat just one.
I know, man. It's just nothing better.
Always, I just always love cereal.
Oh my God. It's so easy though. You know what I'm saying? You go home, you
Yeah.
just pour it in a there's not much to it.
Yeah, it just tastes so good. And I like oatmeal and I like cream of wheat. I'll eat any kind of cereal.
Grape nuts? You eat grape nuts at all?
I used to eat grape nuts a lot actually.
Yeah.
They're rock. I don't know if my teeth could take it at my age now.
Oh, I know. Oh man.
I don't need to be cracking any teeth or anything.
Hey, have you
What
seen? I
I
was just go ahead.
have to tell you this. One day I had this tooth and I grind my teeth and I cracked a molar. So it had a little crack in it. So I'm at the dentist and they're like, you have a little crack back here. Cause I'm like, oh well, I went because I had a little pain. So it would hurt here and there. Uh so they're like, well, you don't really have to do anything yet, but we'll keep an eye on it or whatever. So I'm out with my wife. We go to happy hour. After happy hour, we go to the store and I grab a sandwich. And I'm eating a sandwich in the car. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, man, I'm suing. There's a rock in my sandwich.
Oh no.
And the tooth fell off in the sandwich, like a little piece of the where it was cracked. So all my pain went away. So I called my hygienist. I'm like, hey, that cracked tooth it fell off, so I'm good now, right? I have no more pain. And she's like, yeah, you're if you want a root canal. So I'm like, ah. So I went in and I have
Yeah.
one. That's it. That's my cap. Cracked it. So yeah, I don't want to be eating grape nuts.
Yeah. I chew ice. I chew those gobstop. I chew everything. I shouldn't.
Yeah, my wife yells at me because I love hard candy, but I chew
Hmm.
it like it's food.
Sure.
I suck on it. I have
Yeah.
to bite that. All right, so what are we going to get into, Rick?
We're gonna get into post cereal cards. I think everyone knows post cereal cards, right? If you're our age, for sure. They were like a dime a dozen. When my mom, I was always say, my mom would do these garage sales and so forth. There was always post cereal cards in the box. I read somewhere there were 400 million they produced. 400 million
What?
post cereal cards. Yeah, there's an article in
That can't be.
1961. The headline was 400 million Post cereal cards they produce.
That's hard to believe.
And they, I know, I'm telling you, you can find it on the web there. And come on, they're everywhere. Anywhere you go, still there's those people post cereal cards all over the place.
Yeah, so let's go back in time and let's show the very first Post cereal card. And it was the only baseball card, the only baseball player, and that is the Christy Mathewson, 1930. Of course, a little after his playing days, but this is the very first Post cereal card.
You remember one of our first year, when the first year we were doing the chat, we were showing cards, and you go, "Look at this beauty! It's rare. It's so rare." And then James shows his card.
And
What do you mean rare?
on it because it's after playing days. Yeah. So that's the very first one. And where do you want to start?
Well, you know, the guy doing research on Post, the guy named C.W. Post, started his company in the 1890s, and he actually committed suicide in 1914. And his 27-year-old daughter, who worked for the company, now owned the company back then, and she was the richest U.S. female for years and years and years because she married E.F. Hutton. And they would buy up everything, Jell-O.
Wait, say E.F. Hutton again?
Pardon me?
Say E.F. Hutton again?
E.F. Hutton. E.F. Hutton.
Now, you remember those commercials?
Yeah.
People listen, and they would stop.
So they started to buy up Maxwell House, pretty much everything, and she was the richest female in the world for a long time.
Wow.
And they ended up, with General Mills starting the company, I think in the 30s or 1927, I believe, General Mills. And it ended up being bought by Kraft and so on, but over the years. But I just didn't know she really existed. I didn't even know C.W. Post existed till I went back and did a little research. But the first time you have the Christy Mathewson that Lou Gehrig advertised for them in 1938 with their whole wheat flakes cereal. Whole wheat flakes. What kid eats whole wheat flakes? So the reason they have the baseball players was because, get the kids to tell their parents, hey, buy this cereal, because I guess that whole wheat flake wasn't doing very well back then, sales-wise. So there is some advertisements for Lou Gehrig promoting, and some other Yankees too, for that matter, promoting that cereal. And then we move up to 1955, and you have it was the Post Sugar Crisp with the Ted Williams and Leo DeRocha patches.
Yeah, now these weren't cards; these were patches of Major League Baseball teams. Of course, I have the Pirates. I wanted to get at least one.
I didn't know they were that big. Actually, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they're big, and they're meant to put on your arm or whatever. And I have a treat for you, Rick.
Well, you got one for me?
No, I have the television commercial.
Oh, okay.
And now, kids, time out for exciting news. From Ted Williams, baseball's famous home run king.
Hi, boys and girls. I've got news about some Major League Baseball patches. See this one? The authorized emblem of the Boston Red Sox. How'd you like to have one like it? Here they are, all 15 different ones. All authorized emblems of Major League Baseball teams. Listen and hear how to get them.
You'll find one of these patches in each special package of Post Sugar Crisp that says baseball patch on front. Just open the package and there's your emblem right inside. It's made of real cloth and in full color. Start collecting and swapping right away. They're authorized Major League Baseball emblems. Right, Ted?
Yes, sir. And boys and girls, you want all 15 patches.
Get Sugar Crisp, the sugar and honey-coated cereal treat in the special package that says Baseball Patch.
How
That's
awesome
cool.
is that?
That is awesome, man. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So
So the
go ahead.
in, I guess only.
Yeah. So then also, I guess they had some kind of fact book or something they would put in the boxes too. But yeah, you don't see, you have one, the Pirates. I don't know. I haven't really looked to see on eBay if you can buy those, or they're fairly common, or.
You don't see them too often. You really don't. And I suspect most kids probably did put them on their
Yeah.
shirts and ball and stuff.
Yeah. So that was 1955. Then we go to 1960, and you have a special item, 1960, on the back of the box. It was 7 inches by 8 3/4. On the back, you would have a player. And John's pulling out I think he's pulling out the one he has.
Well, I have a whole bunch, Rick. I'm trying to.
No, the 1960, the Mickey Mantle. Don't you have the 60 Mickey Mantle? The 7 by 8.
Oh.
You
Me
goofball. That's the
yeah.
big boy. That's the whole big boy that we're talking about. So it was 5 baseball players, and you would have Eddie Matthews, Mickey Mantle, Al Kaline, Killebrew, Drysdale, 2 football players, Frank Gifford, Johnny U, and 2 basketball players, Cousy and Bob Pettit, Big Bob Pettit. And they were on back of 2 different size boxes, the 16-ounce box and the 12-ounce box of cereal. And the Sugar Crisp cereal. There it is right there. Beautiful, beautiful. The 2 short printed ones apparently are the ones that are tougher is the Bob Pettit and the Killebrew for whatever reason. They've really jumped in value, those. But 5 baseball players, and they were released in January and February of 1960. January and February 1960.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been fascinated with those. I saw them in a book when I was a little kid.
Yeah, to boost kind of the grape nut flakes again, to boost their sales for the kids, because grape nut flakes, I'm sure, is not the most appealing to the
Yeah.
research department. And I didn't really
Mike's in the house.
I didn't know where they actually came from for years. Those, the
Really?
yeah, I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
You don't see. I don't. Have you seen a Bob Pettit before or a Killebrew? I don't know.
I've definitely seen a Killebrew.
Okay.
I haven't shopped for the Bob Pettit. I think I've seen it. Pretty sure I've
Okay.
seen it. I've seen the
Okay.
Al Johnny U,
Johnny U, Frank Gifford.
Frank Gifford.
Yeah, I was mentioning to everyone you were gone that
I have the Don Drysdale as well.
John Drysdale, Eddie Matthews is in the set, Al
Yeah.
Kaline. It's interesting the players they had, back then. So they had someone on the West Coast, obviously Drysdale. Not sure why not Mays, but because they had Mantle, Kaline. This company was in Battle Creek, Michigan. Post cereal. So I guess they pretty much covered everything. Eddie Matthews, but and then we move on to what? 1960, right? 1961. That's 61. Now we start with the mass-produced
Yeah.
post cereal cards. They came at 61, 62, and 63. Okay, 61, 62, and 63. And I think we both have, I have a whole binder full of them, all like crappy cut, from my childhood days. I didn't cut them, but somebody else did.
I have tons of them. So you have, I want to point out a few things. Number one, you have the Canadian issues that have French and English.
Hmm.
An example of Canadian. And you can see the writings in English, and below it is French. I have a few of these. These are tougher, as is all baseball cards that were issued in Canada. I have a beautiful Ted Kluszewski here. The other thing I want to point out is that they also put these on Jello boxes. And generally speaking, the Jello are smaller in size. They're shorter this way. However, there are Jellos that are bigger. So I think it depended on what size Jello box they were on. Here's a signed Dick Groat Jello. Frank Robinson. I have a
So
where
the
is it?
Jello, the Jello
I have
ones.
a
Go ahead.
Hank Aaron Jello, and
The Jello ones were 62 and 63. 62 and 63. So the first year was 61 with Post cereal. The Jello ones, 62, 63, and they came. Certain players had certain flavors. So, for instance, the Mickey Mantle was apple flavored. That he only came. His card only came in the box of apple flavored Jello. Where I believe Willie Mays was black cherry.
is
And
that right?
yeah, black cherry and Clemente. I made note of Clemente. His was I'll find it here in a minute. His was strawberry. His was strawberry
Is that
flavored.
right?
Yeah.
How the heck did you find the flavors? Here's the Hank. It was still in the box. So that's the Hank Aaron Jello. And here's your man, Willie Mays Jello.
Yeah. So that would have been black cherry.
Okay, let's reiterate. The Jellos were what years?
62 and 63.
62 and 63.
Yeah.
So one was just post.
Yes.
And how about the Canadians?
The Canadians were also 62, 63. So
Okay.
61
Those are
was
not 61.
standalone, just post serial baseball cards.
Okay. And it's important
Even the football 62, 63. But
okay.
just
Okay.
so 61, 200 cards in the set, 200 cards. It appeared on 16 different varieties of cereal. 16 different varieties of cereal, 73 different box panels. 73 different box panels. And they also came with a mail-in, two of the 10 cents and two box tops. You would be able to get a team set that were perforated.
Yeah.
And they were a little thinner. So you can tell the difference. They were a little thinner and perforated.
I wanted to bring that up because there's a lot of confusion among collectors because some of them are perforated, some of them are hand cut. So they came on the back of cereal boxes, the whole back. And how many were there? 2, 4, 6. Were there 8 or 10?
There were.
So you got a number of cards
Yeah.
where you got one.
Yeah.
So on the back, and you could cut those out. The send-in ones were the perforated ones.
Yes.
And of course, see the perforations, and of course, those are going to be you're going to find those more precisely cut, obviously, because they were perforated and you didn't have to hand cut them.
And there was 160 players for the perforated ones you would mail in, where the set was for the cut off the box was 200 for the box.
Okay. Let me show you some other ones. Here's a Clemente. Here's your man Mays again. Smaller image. Another Hank Aaron. Here's a Mickey Mantle, but I was holding that back to. I'm going to show you something here in a minute. Here's another Clemente. Sandy Koufax. I love these things. So I had this card shop back home, and the guy would put these up. You know the old penny sleeves that they were long. They were a little
Okay.
longer. They had like this much at the top, and he would put these, and he had cork boards, and he just tack them up with a tack all over his store. They were like 25 cents to 75 cents, and you just go around and pick the ones you wanted. And pretty cool. I used to just go in there and buy every one he had. So this is a 1961 Maury Wills.
Yeah, and you can tell the difference is 61. The player is on the left side of the card. You can tell where the 62, it's on the right side of the card.
Here's one
It's
for
the
Scott.
player image.
Autographed Don Mossy. Yeah, I got tons of them, but the one thing I wanted to show you, Rick, I don't know if you ever saw this before. This is April 13th, 1962 edition of Life magazine.
Wow, you got wow. That's
And
tough.
be very careful, so give me a minute here.
That is tough to find that magazine.
But they promoted these. When the guy from the Card Life came to do my segment, this is what he was fascinated with when I was showing this.
That was April 13th, 1962, right? I think it's
the
year.
Well, the date, April 13th, 1962. And they had the promo cards with Mantle and Roger Maris on the other side.
Yep.
You will see people sell those cut out of here. But really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And you see the car. I have the Maris, but I definitely don't have the magazine. I heard the magazine is really tough to find. But
yeah,
especially with that cover,
Oh, that thing smells so musty.
Does it really?
Yeah, but most people would want to tear that out so they can grade it, but I hate doing that. It's like this is a piece of history. One of those things, there are some things you can once you see them, you can't unsee them. Once you mess with that, you can't ever go back. So
here's all I have the ones that are graded, the 61s, and you can see on the back it has the staining on the back from the cereal.
I wonder if I have a McCovey.
Hank Aaron. Again, the players on the you can see the stars above his name. That's why you could identify it as also a 61. And they're all numbered. Robin Roberts.
I think you have some I need.
Yogi Berra.
Yeah, I showed that one.
Duke Snyder.
A few Don
No, I
Dries.
don't. Duke Snyder. There we go. Hey, Showcase Showdown again.
Well, those are 2 different years.
So these are my 61s. So they also, and then we move on to 62. And 62, 200 cards again. 100 American League. The first 100 cards in the set numbered are the American League, and the next 100 is the National League, and you can tell by around the stats, the color will tell you. Blue, it was American League player around the stats. Red, National League player. and the the image of the players on the right side. On the right side. So, for instance, here is Jim Davenport. Okay, so you can see the red around the stats.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this card? This is my childhood card. Okay, 62. Look at what's on the back. A 62 Jim Davenport stamp.
Nice.
Top stamp. So, and then we have
Yes, the French bio were issued in Canada. Yes. Thank you, Stephen. And you want to talk football? We have the CFL. There's the CFL league. You have any CFL cards?
I don't. I have some
I have a
football cards. I got one of your players. Two of your players.
Who?
Let's see.
Well, he's looking. Here's a autographed Dick Night Train Lane.
How about a
Jim
Bobby
Brown.
Lane on the Steelers?
Oh, Bobby Lane. I think I need that one.
Look at the cut up here. It's like a big V.
Gee, Big
How
Daddy.
about oh? How
Johnny
about
and
no?
David Berry.
And so you can see they're definitely different. The style of them.
Here's a guy that's both of ours. He played for both of our teams, and we both
Right
like
here,
him. John Henry
right
Johnson.
there. Look at that Showcase Showdown.
Reversed.
John Henry
Wait,
Johnson.
is it just coming up reversed, or are they two different cards?
No, mine's on the left side. The photos on the
Oh,
left.
On the screen.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's weird.
That's weird.
Let 'em-
You're showing on the left. Mine's on the left too, but it's showing on the right.
What do you want me to do?
Huh. Maybe it's just looking that way to me.
My favorite player, John Brody.
Oh, there you go. Here's a guy that had a cannon of an arm, Sonny Jurgensen.
Sonny Jurgensen. So those came in 62 and 63.
So are the 61s harder to get then if all the other ones were made in 62 and 63?
No. The
No?
tougher ones of the post are the 63s because they started to, I guess, whatever, downsize. They didn't print as much of those cards. That was the last year of the post baseball serial cards, so they're a little tougher to find, I guess. Mantle.
I bet. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. There was a rumor that Mantle's cards in 61 were short printed, but that's not the case, according to the Post guy that when they interviewed him for this article in 61. That's not true.
Okay.
But they did have some corrections. So they would have a second printing. Like the Minneapolis team, they started printing the Minnesota Twins. They jumped the gun thinking they were going to be called Minneapolis. So you see both Minneapolis cards and also Minnesota cards out there.
Like the 74 Washington Padres.
Yeah. And they fixed some of the stats. I guess it must have been pains. To come up with all these players and the stats to make sure they were correct. The photographer was a guy named Art Shea. He was a Chicago photographer, and these cards were printed actually in Chicago. All the boxes.
It's interesting how much work went into all these card manufacturers to get the images, get the stats, design the cards, market them, distribute them. Cards were a big deal. They're certainly a big deal now, but they were kind of always a big deal.
Yeah, you know the Jello.
But
I
in the old
read the
product, and now it's just to sell the cards themselves, right?
yeah the photographer said that they interviewed the photographer, and he said that he didn't give Jello their permission for those photos that he took. And
Is that right?
yeah, and then Jello said, "Well, go ahead and sue me." And so so anyway, it's kind of funny that he didn't give permission. They pirated him, he said, his photos to be used on those Jello.
That is interesting. Well, let's take a look at some of the post cereal ads they've had over the years. These are pretty cool.
Hi, I'm Roger Maris. You know you can get baseball trading cards free on Post Cereals. A whole bunch on every package with rundowns on the 200 top Major League stars. So get Post Cereals and start collecting your baseball trading cards now.
Just a little bit better. Hey, Johnny! Post cereals have free baseball cards. Yeah, one on the packages. Here's Post Alphabet. And there are also on 9 other Post cereals. You just cut them out of the back. Hey, you've got 6 different cards on Alphabets. And here's Mickey Mantle. He's my favorite. Boy, he can really shag those flies.
Well, kids, baseball season's here again. And with Post Cereals baseball trading cards, you can get a rundown on all your favorite players.
I'll trade you Big Glove Freddie Matthews. What did he hit last year? 325. All right, I'll trade you. How many stars can we get? 200.
That's the pitch, kids. 200 different major leaguers in color. So start your day a little bit better with Post Cereals and start collecting your free baseball trading cards today.
Hey, where'd you get those? I got them free with Post cereals. Free real baseball trading cards, and you get them on Post cereal packages? Yep, they're in all the packages. I'll show you. See, every time you buy a Post cereal, you get a whole bunch of different cards.
This video's a little
See, there's
off.
Mickey Mantle and Rocky Colavito.
Who's that?
Are you
I had
kidding?
to
That's
upload the
Roger
files,
Maris.
and
And
it's-
I bet you that picture was
We'll make
taken
it
the
again.
day he hit his 61st homer. He's the greatest.
Think so?
Sure. Hey, you're Roger Maris. Roger Maris? In person?
Sure. I wanted to see what I looked like on the Post trading cards. And kids, I think they're great. You can get as many as 200 different major...
This isn't working out. The audio will go off.
That was good. That was good.
To get the sound, you have to upload the files to StreamYard, and it must be slow. Sorry, guys. Those are some cool ads. I'll have to include them in a video.
And then they also had, Post 10, they called them variety packs. You know those variety packs you can buy today, the little boxes? But they had variety packs back then, and on the bottom of the package, they would have 3 baseball cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would, on the very bottom, those 10 packs that you would see nowadays, but in the package, they would have 3 baseball cards. And a whole full box still in the package of all 10 sold for $21K. And Mantle was one of the 3 players on the bottom, which is
And
cool.
the Kellogg's did the same thing. Or I'm sorry, the Wheaties did the same thing, where they had individual boxes with 1 card instead of the strips, and the Hostess cards. Hostess did the same thing, and those are harder to find, where they would have those. You remember the individual packaged Twink, the cakes, and they would come with cellophane, like see through, and there was a card at the bottom, and it was longer. And a lot of those you get are stained because they were in with the cakes. And most of the ones I've ever seen are stained. But they're a lot harder to find than the regular old cutout ones off the boxes.
Okay. So, yeah, 61, 62, 63.
They did hockey cards too, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have any of the hockey ones. I need to get some.
I don't either. I don't. You don't. They're so cool nowadays. When you were well, you collect everything, but I didn't think they were that. I mean, when you see a Topps card when you're a kid and you see one of these and doesn't have, they just weren't as exciting because most of the ones I saw were cut by me, obviously, by someone else,
Yeah,
and they were pretty.
that's where I'm different, Rick, because I've always been drawn to these kinds of things.
The
And
oddball stuff.
cards were everywhere, everywhere. Every friend I had, your set of tops every single year. So when I could find things that were different, that was what was really exciting to me. Now people try to make tops more exciting by getting a 10 or a 9 or centered or this or that. Um, but tops produced a lot of cards in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah. And then they continued. I mean, Post continued. I don't have any, but in the early 1990s, for a few years there, they had to post serial cards too, in the early 90s, and also in the 80s for that matter.
Uh, there wouldn't be a Gretzky. They didn't make them when he played. If you're talking the post serial, are you talking Hostess or something? They didn't make hockey cards for Hostess.
There's
Yeah,
a
it would have been in the early 60s as well for the hockey. You can get like Gordie Howe and those guys.
there's a couple books out there too. I think one recently it was like it's 700 pages on this Post serial.
Is that right?
Yes, it's like $80. So I went on Amazon just to see what it cost. It was about 700 pages. The guy did a huge, obviously deep dive. There's a lot of information. They're trying. He would, any kind of variation, and what boxes these players came from, where they came off, what players are with them, next to them on the back of the box. I mean, the guy's
Wow.
too much time on his hands, but
Yeah, more information than I probably need.
yeah. I think there's on the 62 cards. I think there's about 1,100 of them hand cut mantle cards, roughly about 1,100 hand cut ones, and another 200 perforated ones. The ones you would mail in the two tops with 10 cents.
Yeah.
And they're rather expensive. Yeah, I've seen them at the National. They're so expensive.
Did you see this?
No.
This is a. You see, he has sunglasses on.
Okay.
It's a cleaner for your glasses.
Oh, no way.
My man downtown Michael Brown sent it to me. He has a 49 Leaf one too. There's a company, I think it's called Jinxies, sells these things. Do you have anything on your mind? It's been kind of slow in the hobby, huh?
Yeah. I noticed that TJ online, he's selling all his cards. Man, he's been putting out video day after day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Incredible collection he has. I've been teasing him on, hopefully everything's okay, but he's always smart, I said, what are you buying, a new house? And he goes, my wife loves our house. I said, what are you going for, a big car? I'm just trying to get it out of him. He said, are you stopped collecting? No, I'm not I'm not stopping collect. Are you buying the Wagner?
That's what I was just going to say. Maybe he's selling everything and try to buy the Wagner.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully everything's okay, but man, he's got some beauties, and I guess his cards are Love of the Game auction, which is going on now. And there's actually a card in Love of the Game that I'm going to be bidding on, but I'm not going to tell you because you'll try to snake it from me. You don't buy from auction houses.
The other way around there, Rick.
You don't.
Hey, Rick,
you don't get from auction
we
houses
forgot
either.
the
So
cards, post serial
yeah,
cards.
there you go.
Love
Yeah.
these things. They made these a few years.
Yeah, I think 90, 91, 92, something like that. 91, 92. Those years.
I loved all you call oddball. I loved all these sets. Yeah, I keep a lot of these. This binder's filled with all kind of different issues.
You know, Jello in 1962 cost 9 cents for a 2-pack of Jello. 9 cents.
Bazookas here too. You remember the bazookas? Oh man, it's too hard to show binders. Got a whole bunch of those. All right, I gotta put this away. I'm gonna bend something.
Yeah. How do you just you stand those up? Is that what you do? I
Yeah,
stand mine up.
69 Globe Imports. You know those little things?
Yeah, yeah. From the gas station.
So the Babe Ruth wasn't part of the set. The Babe Ruth was like additional afterwards, where a gas station just gave that out. It wasn't part of the original set.
Yeah, I have some over here. I did a video. That's one of my first videos I did was those Globe import cards.
Is that right?
Yeah, very first video.
Yeah, I have the whole set.
Any comments? They're making fun of us?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Anybody have any questions for us? No one ever has any questions.
Who's going to Strongsville?
Our opinion.
What are you looking for?
Get bombarded with questions. So
What are you selling?
because nobody cares about our
Who
opinion.
do you want to see? Are you going to the trade night? What days you going? Oh,
Steven, you selling? Do you know the name of that book? The post serial book?
yeah. I think if you just go Amazon post cereal, you'll see the book.
Yeah,
you know, that
I'm
type
sure
of
you'll find
Yeah.
it right away. Rick, you need to write these things down so you remember.
All right, let me see. I might have it. Let me see. Where is that book? I mean, it's really interesting because the article in 61, they show pictures of the guy that designed not only the guy who took the photography for the cards, but how they designed them and the stats. And that's where I came up with it. Said right in the headlines, 400 million post serial cards.
We have a question here. I don't know if you'll know the answer, but it was how did they come up with the players? There's no Kurt Flood.
Yeah, there's interesting that, but one of them doesn't have a Brooks Robinson. I don't know, probably just production.
Year, you mean?
Yeah, one of the years.
Oh,
They don't. Brooks Robinson's not in one of them. I know in the Jello, the Don Mossy's a short printed. There were some short printed ones too. The Canadian ones, the last 40, 50 cards of the Canadian football set are tougher to find for whatever reason. The Brooks Robinson is missing on the on something.
I don't know why a Kurt Flood.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Canadian one. The Canadian baseball.
I don't know and never really cared too much, so haven't researched it a whole lot.
Yeah. So this book, I mean, like I said, you could spend hours.
Kurt Flood was an advocate for players having a say in everything. That could have something to do with it. I don't know. Most of the people that were on baseball cards, they didn't pay them very much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So that could have something to do with it. There were some card issues in the 30s that in like the 33 DeLong included Lou Gehrig, but not Babe Ruth. 34 Gowdy included Lou Gehrig, but not Babe Ruth. I heard that Lou Gehrig had a really good agent and finagled, I don't know, something to do with possibly with Lou Gehrig's agent promoting that. I
Mhm.
don't, or could have to do with Babe Ruth's licensing too, because in 34 he was Mr. Quaker Oats, and he was on everything Quaker Oats. He signed with them, and I've really never delved into all of that, so I don't know, but it could have something to do with that. I know the Burke Ross. I've mentioned it several times, I think, on our lives. There was a legal case Bobby Thompson brought up in New York, that they didn't have the right to use his image, and other players went along with him as well, because they were just images of these players. So that could have something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't do a deep dive on what players were actually missing that could have been in the set. I don't know. They had they had Mays,
I
Cepeda, those big names, Marichal, those types of things.
I had commented with the video I did on all of mine. I'm sure. He always wants to see the M116s. Do you have any handy to show him?
Not in front of me. I mean, I can go get one,
Nice.
but I have to go get it.
70s Monty gum cards galore. What's Monty? 70s. Oh, is that a player?
I don't know.
Monty? I'm gonna be like, duh, once he says,
That's how they spelled what?
"Hey, yeah, I got that Burke Ross Jackie. I think the very end of 2024, I think, or the very beginning of 25.
You know
Oh,
the best.
music cards. Sorry, I'm not familiar with them.
The best Burke Ross has to be the Maze. Burke Ross.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, clap, jumping in the air.
You have the Maze there?
That's
I don't
got to
have.
be my favorite uh, Burke Ross pose.
No, it's the Maze because it's the same image as his
You're just a Maze
the
fan,
Stallmeyer. Same image as the Stallmeyer.
right? It's just a face.
Yeah, but the
Jackie in
background's
the air catching the
come
ball,
on.
man.
It's iconic.
Come on. You're a homer.
No, the Bisco Team Flicks. We were going to talk about those,
I
but we
collect
didn't.
I my set this year. I got some of both the smaller border and larger border. I'd like to finish it off with both
Yeah,
the
I have a
small
Maze.
border. But
Yeah,
I just
we need to talk about one of these. We'll do the Nabisco, the Kellogg's. Those are whole different. You know why they're so rare, or not so much rare? Those 69, because it was a crappy cereal. No one's gonna eat that crappy cereal. Those Team Flakes, so probably didn't sell a
see,
lot.
Steven says, Steven, which one's better? That one or Maze?
You know what he's gonna say.
Oh man, I think I missed a bunch of. Am I missing? Oh no. All right, you have Rick. You don't have anything on your mind. You finally broke down and bought something. You got
Yeah,
a
I
Joe.
did.
What do you want to show it?
Where is? Oh, right here.
In the PCL League.
PCL League 19. There he is.
How awesome is that?
18 years old. Here's the. So this was cut. It says here it's stamped October 1st, 1937, but it shows when Joe played with the Seals. So obviously this photo was taken, and then it was probably in the Sacramento newspaper, San Francisco, in their archives. So when they needed a photo, they would pull it out of the cabinet. And I actually tried to find the actual photo in the magazine. Or remember, I was talking about the newspapers.com. So I did a deep dive trying to find October 1st local newspapers around here. And it says here, Joe Wilhilt was the all-time leader with 69 straight hits.
Yeah, Joe
69.
Wilhoit.
Yeah,
I
so it mentions him here
I just got his Z nut.
in the Western League.
Yeah, did you? I just got his Z nut. I
Did
just
you?
did a. I know you
Oh,
don't watch my videos, but
that's
yeah, I
right.
just,
So this is my big boy. And somebody commented, I didn't mention. He said, "Well, why is it cut like that? Why isn't it an 8x10 or whatever?" Well, it was used in a newspaper. So back then, they didn't care what was around,
yeah,
Joe D. They just cut it out like that.
yeah. You'll find those in all kind of different shapes and sizes.
So I had to, because I can't afford, man, his Z nuts are 25K plus nowadays.
Yeah, Darren Return to Collecting just got one. What a beauty!
Man, I mean, I would love
I'd
to
like to
have
have a
one.
Z
Don't get
nut
me
to match you.
wrong. I would love to have one,
Yeah.
but I get the next best thing.
There are just some cards. There are not some. Nowadays, there are many cards that I just have come to grips with that I'm not going to shell out the money it takes to buy them. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it's going to be. Can't
One
have
of
it.
one of the auction houses might have been Love of the Game. They have the Jim Thorpe Z-Net card for sale, and
Wow.
that's way out of my budget. I mean, I can't afford that stuff.
Yeah. It's not even a matter of being out of your budget. It's a matter of choosing to spend that
Yeah,
too.
well, that
I
both.
mean, well, it's out of most people's budgets, but
Yeah,
is that what you want to spend it on? If you're
yeah,
going to next 30 years, I don't know.
yeah. If
There's
you have, I mean, I would love to have it,
everybody's
but
like, you buy these cards, they're never going down ever. But there's no guarantees in life. So
yeah,
you should 30, 40, 50,000 for a card. Uh, I would think you would want to know that should you need that money, you can get that
yeah,
5 years down the road.
yeah. You're hoping. That's why you don't. Well, you got a big boy, a Otani, right? Recently.
I didn't get that recently. I pulled that
Yeah,
back
pulled
in
that. I
2000.
mean, you showed that recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
pulled
big.
that back from a black box. I couldn't believe it.
You got to sell that sucker, man. Get a
Well,
vintage
I'll tell you,
car.
his first 2 years, Rick, everything I opened, and I didn't open a lot. I never, I didn't open a lot, but every time I opened something, it seemed that I got him and Steph Curry, like Curry patches, and I would get Otani. And so I pulled that Heritage Red Auto, and then I also pulled the oversized, his oversized, that super. And
Uh-huh.
with the year before his rookie season, I pulled that was my box stopper, was his oversized card, and
Yeah.
pulled. So I got all kind of rookies from him, but I was buying him very early on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I stops now before he even came over to the country. I remember they had if you remember, they had the card where he's at the microphone, announcing that he was coming over. And Leaf had a number of cards before he came to the country. And
Hey,
of
so
course,
what's my Giants are now 2-4. They should be out of the race in about by May 1st, I'm thinking. But how's your team doing?
well, if it wasn't for the Cincinnati Reds, they'd be doing terribly. They just took 2 from the Reds, but I think those are the first 2 games the Pirates won.
our buddies at what's that?
And
What? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say everybody's saying sell Skeens cards because he had a bad first
Yeah, I
out.
saw that.
But the thing is his outing wasn't as bad as it looked to people who didn't watch the game.
No.
He had two walks. He didn't have his best stuff, but he had one ball like just trickle out of the infield. He had another ball that was like a full swing bunt that nobody got to in time. Cruz made two errors in center field, gave up a ton of runs, and it was just like a comedy of errors. And it wasn't all, but he didn't get out of the first inning. And once they were getting killed and he had so many pitches in, there's no way they were just going to let him stay in, right? Pull him, let him live to pitch another day. But that was really bad, that first first game. But there were all kind of errors and stuff. It was ridiculous. They look like the bad news bears. So it's not all on him.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he didn't have his splinker working. Like he didn't seem like he was throwing it. So I don't know what was going on with that. I could tell early on he didn't have his best stuff.
Yeah.
He
So
was getting guys were fouling a lot off on him. They were dragging out the at bats. So that he didn't have his good stuff because they don't usually do that. They're usually whiffing and not catching up to the fastball. And it's not even fair. He's throwing you those splinker, whatever, and they're all off speed and they're falling and they're dropping. And then he comes at you with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball high and tight. It's not even fair.
yeah. So the three cards. I mean, what was the three?
Somebody's asking what Tops Now cards you own. Do you own any?
Hell no.
Yeah, I own a whole boatload. All right, this question. What are both of your top three cards in your want list that are too overpriced to buy?
There's many.
The T206 Honus Wagner, the
The 34,
49
34
Satchel Paige,
Gaudy.
the 49 Leaf Satchel Paige, the 35 Worldwide Gum Joe DiMaggio, the 37 O-Pee-Chee Joe DiMaggio or Bob Gibson. Not Bob Gibson, Bob Feller. And, of course, the Z-Nut Joe DiMaggio. Love to have that one. Those are a few.
Yeah, the Bryce Williams, Mathewson as a rookie card. The 1914 Chrissy Mathewson, Cracker Jacks, where he's actually on the mound. The Ty Cobb, Cracker Jack.
The Ramley Walter Johnson.
Yeah, Ramley Walter Johnson.
Before that one, but I do love that one.
There's so many. So many.
Oh, wait a minute. They you know what? I missed that. Jack Hughes. Tops Now. Damn. I don't always get emails from them. And I'll see some cards that pass me up. Man. Got to get me one of those. It's probably $1 trillion now. Just bought a 58 Ernie Banks. That's a nice win. Congrats.
Let's play two.
T204 Walter Johnson.
My next video is going to be Walter Johnson. I'm going to make a book.
I want to blank. Is that to Ramley?
I think so.
I don't know all the numbers. Some of the cards go by numbers and some go by names. Like with Ramley, it's Ramley.
Yeah, I think that is the Ramley.
T206.
Yeah.
T205, like those are. But nobody calls the 33 Gaudy by their designation. I don't even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or the 33 DeLong or the Tattoo Orbit. I don't even know what those are. Yep, Ramley.
Yeah, Ramley. The worst looking Walter Johnson card is his T20. What is it? T207. Right? T207.
Yeah, I have that one. You don't like that set.
No, I mean, that's the
Well,
worst
that's a
looking
card.
one.
That's the card I need for my set. That's the last big card. I need the Trish Speaker.
No.
I have the Buck Weaver. I have the Walter Johnson. I have the Almeida, and the Raphael. Yeah, Almeida and Marsons, and like John McGraw, Joe Tanker, Rue Marquardt. I got from you. You sold me that
Yeah.
when you were Rick the Flipper.
Rick the
And
Flipper.
yeah, so I have a lot of the. I have let's see, Roger Brejnahan. I have Seacott, Eddie Seacott. That's a beautiful one. That might be the nicest card in that set, at least among the bigger players. There are some other nice ones, but yeah, I love that set. And there are a few images. The Walter Johnson's one is not the best image, but
Yeah.
the Eddie Seacott, the Joe Tinker. I mean, there are a lot of really good looking cards in there. The Buck Weaver.
But they kind of mailed it in. I mean, the T205 was fantastic. The set was
Yeah,
fantastic. And
I
then they
love the
do, yeah.
T205. I love that set. Just love it. And the chipping and everything. There's some you see some tobacco staining on the back sometimes. Like that stuff all makes it endearing. You know what I mean? It's funny when I shop for the T205s. I don't mind. I'm not looking for perfect examples. Good luck there. Um, but I just look for the ones that look cool to me.
Hmm.
Some of the ones that are more worn look better to me than the ones that are less worn. And there's a lot of up and down centering sometimes that will bother me. I don't mind left to right on those quite as much as the up and downs. Kind of like the 54 tops. I hate the names cut off at the top. I try to avoid those. Um, and then you have a set like the 53 tops, which I don't mind off centered at all on those. I don't seem to notice them. Like
Hmm.
the 50, you notice them because they have the white border. But the 53 tops, I don't really notice them at all.
Yeah. I mean,
It's funny how the designs can affect that.
the 54 rookie card of Ernie Banks, the background's white. And so, if it's a lot of those are miscut and you really don't notice really too much, it's that particular card because the background is with the borders white. You notice that on the 54?
Say that again.
I mean,
Sorry,
the
I was.
54 Ernie Banks rookie card, right?
Yeah,
The background's white. Okay. So if it's miscut, and a lot of those are off center and miscut, and
yeah,
you don't notice as much because the border's white also,
yeah. Right,
so
right, right, right.
it doesn't just
Where
stand out.
the LK line, like I have a real sharp one, but it's a little off center, and you notice it right away because of that coloring. Sometimes some of those cards I mind, some I don't mind. Like you said, it depends on the colors, if it blends in with that border or really, contrasts it. So, do either of us have American Catalog from Burdick? I have the 1950, I think it's 53 version. I do have a copy of that I have it framed. The interesting thing about his catalog is he doesn't have very many pictures. There's no, like, you don't see pictures in there like the standard catalog of baseball cards, and he cataloged everything. I think baseball card collectors don't realize that he cataloged every kind of card, not just baseball. And so there's, man, those things are so many different sets in there. I didn't want to mess with it too much, so I just looked through it.
Hmm.
I don't do it all the time. I should get another copy that I could just read, but we've come a long way. The standard catalog, you learn more than reading his catalog.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna. It's kind of like the old. Do you remember the old book that was called the Sports Collector's Bible?
I don't think so.
I got that book. Hold on, I'm gonna get it because you're gonna. I think you're gonna recognize.
I don't own the American card catalog. It's kind of, like John was saying, it's not just baseball. It just, you have flowers, cars, actresses, actors, boxers, and everything else in the set, So, but not to say I wouldn't not want to own one. I wish I had one. Oh, okay.
You remember this book?
Yeah, now I do.
So I had this as a kid, and I don't know whatever happened to it. I think my mom threw some boxes of books away, and I think I had some books that I had in there. I think she threw some away when she was moving because I'm missing a few books. Um, there was a Clemente book I had as a kid. I can't find it anywhere, and I couldn't find this, so I picked up another copy because this is just so nostalgic to me. It had Clemente
Hmm.
there, and I'm so excited to get this book as a kid because there weren't that many baseball card books, and every one there was, I got it. But I was so disappointed because unlike Beckett or some of the other books or magazines, it's just mostly checklists
Yeah.
and pictures. So uh, you have to reference the sets, and you have to go a long way. Look at all these. You have to go a long way to find any pictures.
Yeah.
As a kid, when you're trying to learn about new sets and stuff,
Yeah. It's like,
is it necessarily a
here's the
if
2007 baseball card, standard
yeah,
catalog.
yeah, those things are awesome.
And so it
Those,
has if you want to learn, everything is in this sucker, man.
and I wish the printing companies would read that too, because they stuff before the great exist, and they contradict some of the stuff in there sometimes.
Yeah, but you can't go by the pricing too. It's crazy.
Well, no, I don't
No, I'm
even.
just saying it's kind of
Yeah, I don't
funny.
pricing. I never got that book for the pricing.
Yeah,
Never got it for the checklist and to read about the sets. However, and they'll tell you the short prints and that. But however, in the old days, before comps and before the internet, that was really the only guide you had to some of the old rare sets to have any idea what you should pay. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because Beckett didn't cover all those obscure sets that they cover. Beckett just did the main sets.
I should look through this
Yeah.
more. It's kind of, for the
Good
checklist,
evening.
especially.
Lonely Basement. Baseball cards. Welcome, Keith.
The Venezuela Chris or Mick Sandy Koufax, the '67. Where is that sucker?
Yeah.
Down there.
That's,
Down there.
that's, and it's just gone ballistic.
It says near mint is $800. Near mint.
Yeah. Yeah, it ain't $50 anymore, buddy. Nothing $50 anymore. Can't even buy a pack of cards for that. It's one thing that they absolutely annihilate you on the price of new cards, but they could at least give you a piece of gum, something, so that if you don't pull anything, at least you have something to show for it. You could enjoy some fun. They should give you a free pizza or something.
I don't know. What do you think? Call it a night?
Yeah, man. I'm just working on fumes at this point. I could talk cards all night. Hammer 44. The gum was good.
God, I just keep putting them in my mouth, man. I just make a big old.
What vintage would you buy for the cost of Topps Transcendent, $25,000? Is that how much the box goes for? Jeez. I'm sure they're all getting, getting broken, right? Yeah. All right, Rick. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah,
Everybody,
it's
thanks
fun.
for listening to us ramble on. I hope maybe you learned something about post serial cards. We covered a lot of different ones.
That's for sure. And they're really inexpensive. Really inexpensive. Even the Hall of Fame players, authentic, you can get 30, $40 for authentic Mays or even Mano or whatever.
Yeah, that's another thing to point out is with the hand cut cards, if the lines don't show, they get an A usually. Like the black lines show here, so they give it a number.
Yeah, but they're really not
And
that
you know,
expensive.
Rick, I don't care about grading, and I don't care if they're graded or not. But if the grading company is going to grade hand cut cards and give it an A if they don't think it's cut wide enough,
Hmm.
then secondary grade of some sort. Because if you're going to give it an A, is it wrinkled to hell and back? Is it altered in some way? Is there a mark on it? Like they're not helping the collector. They're not telling you anything about that card. And you don't know. Is it A because it's minimum size not met for the cut? What's wrong with that card? You
Sure.
don't know. They don't give
Yeah.
you that A doesn't tell you anything about
Yeah.
the nothing other than they think lines should show, which I always say I learned in first grade that you're supposed to cut on the line so they don't show, right?
Right.
Well, I don't understand why the lines have to show. Anyway, all right, Rick, give us your
All right.
close.
This is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. We appreciate it. Love collecting.